Your Story family. This is Allison Gilliard with Run Your Story, where every story needs to be heard. And let's talk about a transformational running story with my amazing friend, Annette Hites. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, guys, when you listen to her story, you're just going to be unbelievable. Like, it's just, wow. That's all I can really say. She has such a joy and a love for running, and she reminds us all that we get to run because not everybody has this opportunity. And I know that we say anybody can run, but literally as a kid, she couldn't do that. And so this is such an extraordinary story, and what a heart, what a soul she has, and an absolutely genuine person. And I want to be friends with her forever because she's just so encouraging. And it was actually a mutual friend that introduced us and said, you've got to tell her story. And Annette has not only taken the love of running to unbelievable finish lines, but she's made it a part of her career. And so I love that. I love what she's bringing to our community and her story. And guys, you're about to be just amazed by her. And so Annette, I'm so thankful for you. I am so thankful for your story and for what you do to our community, like how you impact and you make it better. And I love you, my friend. I'm so glad that we were introduced and that we got to know each other because you are just absolutely phenomenal. So thank you, Annette, so much for your story. Thank you so much for, again, making our running community better. And speaking of making us better, go check out my buddy Aaron at Run and Try. They are powering up our podcast this month. Guys, Run and Try is your Mobile and Gulf Coast premier shoe fitting store. They offer a range of shoes to fit your athletic needs, from running, walking, cross-training, pickleball, and more. Offering top-of-the-line shoes, orthotics, and solutions to plantar fasciitis to your foot and body's overall health. They will help you find your happy gait. And woohoo, they do that. They are absolutely amazing. I have my pickleball shoes from there. I have a pair of running shoes from there, and I do have cross-training shoes from there as well. So definitely go see my friend Aaron at Run and Try. And again, tell him thank you so much for powering out this podcast. He believes in the running community. He does so much good for our running community, and he's an absolutely really cool person to talk to. So yeah, go tell Aaron, hey, make my gait happy, man. Put some shoes on me. And everyone there that works at Run and Try are absolutely fantastic. So definitely go see Aaron at Run and Try and all of his peeps, and they'll make sure that you have a happy gait. So, all right, guys, get ready, get set, and go run with my friend Annette Hites and her Run Your Story. Yes. So little did we know that we had mutual friends and that we used to work out in the same gym together. And yet here we are.
Yeah.
So excited. So what is your run story, my friend?
Oh, goodness. I guess so. As a child, I grew up with really severe asthma.
Okay.
I was on inhalers morning, night. Anytime I was going to do any kind of exercise, I was on oral medications. I took allergy shots every single week.
Wow.
It was a lot.
Sure.
And so I really wasn't able to be as active as I wanted to be. I played volleyball and basketball some. And then as I got into college, I played intramurals a little bit. I had to take a lot of breaks and a lot of hits on my inhaler. I just always felt like my lungs just didn't work. Like, what's wrong? I went through doctors, and it just seemed like it was a constant problem. But I just kind of lived with it. And then fast forward a little bit, I was married and had my second child, and it was Christmas Eve. I had an asthma attack in Mass and was sent to the hospital, hospitalized for 3 days. That was really scary. So I used to have bronchitis a lot, but never had to be in the hospital per se. So anyway, I had her, it was fine. A couple months after that, I realized I'm not having all these issues anymore. Like, I'm breathing really well. I had started walking, trying to get the baby weight off, and realized that I was doing better. Went and saw my pulmonary doctor. He did some studies, had normal function tests. Had never happened before.
What?
Out
Okay.
of nowhere. So I go back to my OB for a checkup, and I'm like telling him about this. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, you don't understand. And he's like, no, I've seen it before. He said, hormones are crazy things. They will do different things. And he said, obviously your hormones had something to do with the inflammation and all that in your lungs. And it's calmed it down for whatever reason. Enjoy it. And he's like, I don't have an answer. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I went back to the pulmonary doctor. I came off of all the medicines. I was doing fine. And I just had an inhaler or whatever. And So I started working at aerobic classes and stuff at basic gyms and all. And fast forward a few more years later, I had another child. And I was out taking a walk one day and I thought, you know what? I'm so tired of walking. I'm just going to try to run. A mile and a half later, I got back to my house and realized, holy crap, I'd been running for 15 minutes straight and I had no problem. And so,
Okay.
it was just like really bizarre, but I don't know. I just went with it. And so that kind of led me to dive into running. I just thought I can do this. So I went to see Joe over at McCoy Outdoors. I got some shoes. And my first pair of shoes were Nike Structure. I'll never forget that. Joe was so cool. I loved him. Anyway, and I started running about a couple weeks later. My husband came home and he says, hey, I signed us up for a 5K. And I was like, what's a 5K? I had no idea what he was talking about. And so he said, oh, we're going to go do this benefit for this nurse. And it's over in Daphne. I went and I was like, this is the best thing ever. And there were people and a T-shirt. The things you do for a T-shirt. There was this big party and it was just so cool. And the nurse, like Michael knew her. And so she was there and it was just really a cool event. Well, that led to, I don't know how many 5Ks and 10Ks that year, and rolled into 2010. I did my first half marathon in 2011, First Light Mobile.
So just after a year after you started running.
About a year and a half-ish.
Wow.
And I got the bug and I just went. And I was running all the time. I had all these routes in my neighborhood. It was just fantastic. And it was so much fun. And so that first marathon, first half was really fun. And then I did 2 years later in 2013, I did my first full marathon in Disney. My husband did it with me. And because by then I had gotten him into running with me. And that was really awesome. I got to meet Jeff Galloway at that expo.
Wow.
I went to a little class with him and got to hear him lecture. I still have his recording of him talking on my phone. That was really awesome. He was fantastic.
Yeah.
And he's the one that kind of encouraged me to do interval training, which we did start using after a while. And so I just kept going from like 2009 when I first started running till 2020. And in that time I ran 3 marathons. I ran probably 50 half marathons.
Wow.
I've lost count. I have so many medals and bibs and all that stuff in my house. And then I've run obstacle course races, Spartan races, mud runs, all that kind of stuff. I've never done an actual trail run, but I do like trail running. It's fun. Gosh, I just kept running. But in 2017 is when I went and got the health coach certification. I went to Tampa and took a class, and I started a wellness program in my office. I work in a physical medicine office. I'm a nurse there. And I started this whole wellness program. And so I help people with nutrition plans. And I've coached a lot of people in running, helped them figure out how to do a 5K or whatever. And then in 2020, the whole racing environment got shut down. And a lot of things did, obviously. But it killed my spark. I had registered for 2 half marathons and they both got canceled. And it was just like, sorry, you're just out of luck. And that just really broke my spirit. And so I waited to see if things would open up, and they did. But then again, registered for a couple of things and they got canceled at the last minute. So I was like, you know what? I'm done with that. It's frustrating. And so I didn't quit running, but I quit registering for races. I'm kind of embarrassed. I haven't run an organized race since 2020. But my goal this year is to get back into that.
Okay.
One of my goals.
Okay.
And in 2021, I got my personal trainer certification, and I started working at a local gym. And I did that for about a year and a half. And I also trained people at my office. I had all kinds of exercise plans. And for the people in my office, there's lots of limitations. And so there was lots of modifications that I had to do. So that was it was good for me to be able to stretch my brain and do that. So, and then in 2022, I joined Trust Athletics and I started CrossFit, which was a huge jump for me. I was very intimidated by that. But it's funny, the very first day, there was so much running in the workout that I thought, I can do this. And that was one of the things that I went back to my friend that got me there. And I was like, okay, this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And so, but anyway, we do lots of runs there. There's nothing like just going out on the pavement by yourself and taking off for a run and just letting it clear your head. And running has been a surprise in my life. As a child and a teenager and a college kid, I never thought that I would be able to do it. And I saw all these people doing that, track stars and my friends that they would go for a run because that's what their team was practicing or whatever. And I just never thought that was going to be me. And then for a long time, I really did. I ran almost every day. And now I run 2 to 3 times a week, just short distances. I haven't run a whole lot of long distances recently in the last year or so. But that's one of my goals this year is to run a half marathon again. I want to get back into the racing community and get back to that. I feel like I've gotten away from it and I miss it. So, but that's where I am. And
I love that. So I love how you said that running was a surprise. I also love how you're like, you know what, I'm tired of walking. I'm just going to go run while I'm pregnant. Who does that? And then I ran for 15 minutes straight. Wow. That's incredible.
It was a big surprise that I could do it. And so I just kept doing it.
Yeah.
And it became a part of me. And I guess I never really classified myself as a runner. I'm not super fast. I'm very average. I don't really put a lot of stock in that kind of stuff. I just look at the abilities that I have and go with it and try to celebrate who I am and what I can do and try not to be too focused on times. And that's literally one of my pieces of advice to people is don't focus on your time, focus on the distance. If you say, I'm going to go run a mile right now, then go run the mile. I don't care if you do it in 4 minutes or 8 minutes or 25 minutes. Yeah. Just get the distance done.
I like it. Oh, that's so good. Well, I know there have been some lessons that you've learned from running.
Probably my number one thing is just make sure you have the right shoes because that matters so much.
Absolutely.
Another is probably just to be patient, especially if you've picked a big race and you've got a lot of miles to train for. You only eat an elephant one bite at a time, so you can only run 1 mile at a time. And so today I'm going to focus on these 2 or 3 miles that I'm getting in. And then this weekend, when if I have to run along, I'm going to focus on those 6 or 8 miles or whatever it is, whatever kind of training plan you're following. Just be patient with the program. Be patient with your body. Listen to your body. Take rest days when you need to. I'm really bad about that because I'm a very scheduled person. I like my lists and I like my schedules. And so it's hard for me to give and take sometimes, but I can't give and take there because it could lead to something worse.
Sure.
I don't want an injury that's going to put me down for a while. But I don't know, really just keep pushing forward and, focus on your goals. That's
awesome.
I've learned that you have to push past your own limits. And that sometimes our brains tell us that we can't do things. And just to get past those voices that are telling you can't do that. It happened to me last night. I was mentally struggling. We did this workout and then we were doing strength after the workout. And I was supposed to be squatting 85% of my 1 rep max. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, it is so heavy tonight. Why is it so heavy? Like, why are you doing this? You can't do this. But I was like, you know what? I can do this. And just trying to stick with that mentality and trying not to talk negative to yourself. I look in the mirror a lot of times and I just have to talk myself up and just be like, okay, you can do this. Stop doubting yourself. You're totally capable. Age is a number. Like, I'm 49 years old and
you don't look it. Not at all.
And I really never expected to be where I am in my fitness journey. Never expected. Like, my 40s have been the best years as far as fitness related kind of stuff. And so I never dreamed that I would be where I am right now. And so sometimes I have to just sit back and go, you know what? You're doing great. Just keep being you.
For sure. Yeah. So. Oh, I love that. That's so good. Let's talk about a favorite race you have and why.
So I have 2 favorite races. Okay. One is the Azalea Trail. And the reason for that is because when I was a teenager, I obviously couldn't run it. So I passed out T-shirts and I did timers and helped people get water and just volunteered. And so that was my first 10K I ever ran. And I was super excited about it. I cried at the end of it because I was like, I can't believe I just did that. I never thought that I would be the one running this race. So that's my favorite hometown race. Seeing all the people, like everybody comes out for Azalea Trail.
It's a big party. I love it. Yeah.
Walking, running, prancing along with it. Everybody shows up. And I loved that. So my second favorite race, which was probably my biggest race, was the Dobie Challenge.
Okay.
In 2018, my husband and I signed up for it, and all of my friends and family thought we were nuts.
Absolutely. I concur.
And the training was just a monster.
Sure.
It was a lot. And we took about 6 months, really, and trained for that. And so it was a 4-day running festival. you run the 5K one day, the 10K one day, the half marathon, and then the full marathon, and the final day. And I think, honestly, the hardest part is getting up
Right.
at 3 o'clock in the morning to get to the dang corral. You know, like, oh my gosh, having to be in that corral at 4:15 in the morning or whatever. It was so early. I'm not a morning person.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I'm not a morning person at all. And I don't talk to me for at least an hour.
And everyone's like Disney, and you're like, I can't even believe I'm here.
I woke up when the sun came up an hour into the race. No.
You're like, you're in the happiest place. You're like, not right now.
Seriously. But yeah, that was the hardest part, was getting up. Yeah. So, but it was, I guess, it's my favorite race because I feel like it was just such an accomplishment to be able to run 48.6 miles in 4 days. That's honestly the only thing I'd ever thought about tattooing on my body was 48.6, because I was so proud of that, and just that I had been able to do that and accomplish that. And it was just, it was amazing. And I cried at the end of the marathon, and then I had a friend that was doing it too, and I cried when she came across, and I cried when Michael came across. It was just really emotional. That's the last marathon I've done. That was in 2018. And I don't know if I'll do another full. It's so much. It's just so much on the body. It's just hard. But never say never. I'm going to start with a half.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm going to pick a half this year and do that. And then we'll go from there. So
you're like, maybe another dopey. Who knows?
Oh, I know. Rachel wants me to do that with her. She actually texted me that and said, I want to do that. And I was like, oh, gosh.
You're like, listen.
I have to say, Disney, for anybody that wants to do any kind of half marathon, full marathon, whatever, or any race really, Disney just does it right. Now, you're probably not going to PR at a Disney race because we're so crowded, but they just do everything right. The expo for that marathon is the best expo, hands down, I've ever been to.
Okay.
It is huge. I bet there's 500 vendors. It's literally, you have to take 2 days to do it. It is so big. And there's just so many people there that want to talk to you. And they're not bad about selling you stuff. Of course, they want to sell their stuff. But it was really cool. And they just do it right. There's characters on the course. And some of it's boring, like the back part where you're just back there looking at the water filtration system or something.
You're like, I'm at Disney, right?
But running through the parks is the best. That's one of my favorite memories.
I love that.
So it's really cool.
All right. Something tells me you are routine. So what does your pre-race routine look like?
I like the night before. I guess it starts the night before. I like to have all my stuff out. I like to get whatever I'm going to wear, whatever it is. I'm going to put all that out. I'm going to get my race belt if I'm wearing that, my shoes and my socks. Like everything gets put out, my bib. And I have all that stuff ready. And I don't really have a meal or anything that I like to eat, really. Okay. I'm pretty much down for whatever, nothing like super specific. I drink a lot of water the day before, but I drink a lot of water anyway. And I try to go to bed early. I'm a night owl, so I have to make myself go to bed. But I always set at least 2 alarms because I'm always afraid I'm like not going to wake up. And then the morning of the race, I get up early because I want to be awake because I'm not a morning person, so I don't want to be grumpy. And so I get up early, and I usually just have my regular breakfast, which is usually like a protein shake and a piece of toast. I don't do a lot of breakfast. Okay. Just a little bit, whatever I need. And then I always get my Cliff Bars, the gel blocks. Okay. So that's what I usually eat if I'm doing long runs. I'll have those packed in my bag if I'm bringing that. And that morning, just drink my water and probably go to the bathroom 10 times before the race starts because for whatever reason, everybody has a nervous bladder.
That's right. I'm telling you, it's legit. It's terrible.
So that's really about it. Nothing real specific.
Okay.
I just like to make sure I have all my stuff because I don't like to forget things.
Sure.
So
unless you're at the Disney Expo and you're like, oh, I can
go pick that up. And then you can just
Absolutely. Well, I'm here. Darn, I went off and forgot. Yep. I forgot my shoes. I should probably go buy some Disney shoes. All right, so you cross the finish line. Do you have a post-race routine?
I usually just try to walk for a little bit.
Okay.
If it's been a long run, I'm putting ice on my knees. Ice is like my best friend.
Okay.
I'm allergic to ibuprofen, so I can't take that. So ice is like my favorite thing. So I usually ice my knees after I've had a little walk and just some stretching and just find some food. And I always like to I don't know why I want this after every race, but I want a Diet Coke fountain drink.
Okay.
I don't know why. That's like what I'm wanting the whole time I'm running. I'm like, just a Diet Coke.
Okay.
A really cold one.
That's right.
And then probably at the end of the day, just a nap.
That's right. A to the man, girl. Let's talk about your favorite running item. You will not go running without this item.
Well, it's probably my headphones. I don't like hearing myself breathe. So I like to have my music cranked up pretty high. And so my headphones, and I can't go running without a visor either, though. So
Okay.
I don't really wear hats. They make me too hot, I think. So I really like the visors.
Okay.
And so really just those two things, obviously my shoes, but
Okay.
yeah, so.
I got it. All right. Speaking of shoes, what are you running?
Brooks Adrenaline.
Okay.
That first pair of Nike
with Nike
Structure.
Structure.
No. I think they stopped making those at some point along the line. I don't remember.
Okay.
And I went to see Marjorie at Fleet Feet,
Mm-hmm.
and she's amazing. And she put me in Brooks Adrenaline. And so that's what I've been wearing ever since. And
Wow.
it works for
Okay.
me. And I do wear other tennis shoes.
Mhm.
I have 15 pair of tennis shoes, but all have different reasons, I guess.
Girl, there's a nut judgment zone here.
Oh, yeah.
I
Well,
mean, I'm down for it.
and so I've just always, I really like them. And
Mhm.
so that's what I wear.
There you go. Okay. That's awesome. You talked about the Cliff Bars for longer runs. Is there electrolytes that you take with you as well? Or do you just do water and...
I usually
okay.
just do further, like if I'm doing a half, I'll have a running belt and I'll
Okay.
have some water and then like a Powerade Zero. I'll
Okay.
put that in. I'll have one of one of each.
Okay.
And like a lot of times on the course, they're pretty good with what they have. So I
Sure.
might drink something that's on the course, but I don't like really sweet things.
Mhm.
And I have not found, well, other than the IV.
Liquid IV?
Liquid
Okay.
IV. I do like that. But a lot of the other electrolyte replacement things, I don't know. They have a weird taste to them, and I haven't liked them.
Okay.
So Powerade Zero, the Liquid IV, that works.
Okay.
Just water.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what you've already mentioned is your favorite running memory. What is that?
Okay, so I have one for the half and one for the full.
Okay.
So my first running memory, or my favorite running memory, is during my first half marathon, first Light Mobile. And I didn't know this was going to happen, but my husband and my 3 children kept popping up on the race course. And they had signs and Powerade and gummy bears. And I don't even remember how many times. I mean, it seemed like every time I turned the corner, there they were. It was amazing. So a friend of ours, Mike Ryan, was the race director for that race for a long time. And so Michael just asked Mike, hey, where should I go on the race course to be able to surprise her? And so he helped him figure out where to go. And so it was amazing. The first time, I just thought it was funny. I thought, oh my gosh, I've only been running for a mile. And here they are. And it was just fun. And then he waited until I was probably 6 miles in. I don't remember. And then again, 9 miles when I really needed it. And then mile 11 when I was getting really tired. And I was just like, okay, power through. But it was just amazing. Every time I didn't expect it. I didn't realize that they were going to do that. So that was so fun. So my second running memory was during my first marathon. They changed the Disney marathon from the first time and the second time. The first time I just did the Disney, and then the second time I did the Dopey, and they had changed the course up a little bit.
Okay.
And so the first time I ran into Animal Kingdom before the park opened, because you start at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and then you run around to the different parks or whatever.
Okay.
But the park opened at 8 o'clock, so I was there at some point before 8 a.m. And all the people that were working in the park were like, come ride a ride, come do this. So they wanted us to ride stuff. And so I was running through the park kind of laughing. And I was like, are you kidding? And I looked over and we got to Everest, the roller coaster.
Yes.
And I was like, okay. And I looked at the guy and I said, are you kidding? And he's like, no, I'm not. Come on. So I jumped on Everest.
During a marathon.
Yeah.
What the
John.
Are you kidding me?
Right, me and a bunch of other people too. We all jumped on.
First of all, that's a terrifying roller coaster. Let me just say.
So much fun. So we rode the roller coaster. We got off, and the guy's like, you want to do it again? I was like, no, I probably need to go. And so off we went. And so that was such a fun memory. And I don't know anybody else. I know there were other people on the roller coaster, but I don't personally know anybody else that's been able to do that. And so I just think it's pretty cool. It was fun.
I'm still trying to, like, how did your legs feel after getting off that roller coaster?
Kind of weird. Took a minute to start running again.
Because you were just turned upside down and went backwards and everything else.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Okay. Let me just say this. You are not average, my friend, at all. Yeah, no. Yeah, I just did Mount Everest. Now I'm going to go finish running.
It's funny.
How long into the distance? Do you remember how long you were into the distance?
I don't really remember. I don't know. It's just, you ran in Animal Kingdom and all the people were like, hey, come ride this. Hey, come. And I was like, are y'all kidding? What are you talking about? Come ride rides. Are the rides even working right now? So I do have one other really cool memory. I flew to Philadelphia with one of my best friends to do this thing called the Rocky Balboa Italian Stallion Challenge. Sure. Some big words. And it was basically a half marathon, but they had set up the course to where you ran a 5K and then you ran a 10-miler. So you got 4 medals or something. It was crazy, all these medals that you got, if you did the whole thing. Mm-hmm. But the cool part of it was I have a friend who lives outside of Philadelphia. And she and I became friends 20 years ago when I first got the internet. And I first got an email address. And I went on those chat rooms. Do you remember the chat rooms?
Yeah.
And they all had these chat rooms for people that like to garden and these people that like to cook and people that like animals or whatever. And I met this girl named Amy in one of those chat rooms. And we started emailing each other. We didn't know anybody else that had emails, but we thought it was fun that we had emails. So we just got to know each other electronically. And we never met. We sent each other Christmas cards. We sent each other pictures. We sent each other birthday gifts over the years. 20 years later, she was a runner. She did that race. And so we met up for that race.
Oh,
and so
how fun was that?
First time I ever met her in person. So it was really cool to meet her in person. And she had all her running buddies with her. And it was really neat. So
you're like, oh, good. You're not a psychopath. We are legit. You're a runner. You're a different type of psycho. Yeah.
We just had been like pen pals for 20 years, which is crazy, but it was fun. So maybe
That's adorable.
Maybe we'll do another race together sometimes. But she runs in the snow and she really likes to trail run. And so I don't know about snow.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh, man. Besides the Diet Coke, is there a meal that like either like you cross the finish line, you're like, can't wait to have this?
I don't think so, but like it seems like the thing we always go get is cheeseburgers.
Okay.
I don't know why, but that seems to be one of the first things that comes to mind. But I don't plan it out or anything like that. Just seems like that's what we go eat for some reason.
Got it. Okay. You're like, for replenishing the calories?
I'm just like down for whatever. I just want to eat.
I just want my Diet Coke. That's it.
Yes.
So you mentioned your headphones. So what is your running jam playlist?
Okay, so I told you I was a really organized kind of person. I used to spend so much time making my own playlists and putting things in order, and it was ridiculous. I would look at the time, like how much time had lapsed and where I would want that song, and it was nuts. I was really anal about my music. I used to. But now, ever since I got Apple Music, I use these 5 playlists that they have. It's called the 50 Running Remixes, and they're all popular songs that are put to a certain cadence. It's 120 to 160 beats per minute. And so I have taken all 5 of those playlists and just made them into one big playlist, and I just hit shuffle. And so it's all popular hip-hop kind of music, but it's at that same beat. That's what keeps me going is the beat. So it's not necessarily what it's saying. I mean, there have been songs over the years that I've been like, oh, man, that really helped. I like that, you know. But I think most of the time when I run, music gets me going. But after a while, I just hit that zone and I'm just like, just one foot after the other.
Yeah.
And I'm not really hearing the music anymore. I'm just hearing the beat and just keep going and just enjoy the run. So
that's amazing. All right. Let's talk about recovery time. So what does a recovery tool look like for you?
Well, the first one is ice. I usually put ice on my knees, put ice on my lower back because my lower back takes a lot of heat from running. Ankles sometimes. I really like a TENS unit. I got a TENS unit at the Louisiana Marathon about, I don't know, 8 years ago or
Okay.
so, and that thing still works. I've got new little pads for it,
Yeah.
the electrodes or whatever, but yeah, that thing works. I love that 10 unit. My son just recently got a cupping set for Christmas.
Oh, yes.
And so we've gotten into cupping. It's interesting.
I love cupping.
It helps a lot. So we've done that. I've got all the tools like the rollers and just I don't know. I've got lots of different recovery tools, but I don't use those very much.
God, that's fair. Hey, again, non-judgment zone here.
Yeah. I use my 10 unit more than anything.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have a Theragun. I do use that quite a bit.
Do you also use these same things for after a hard workout at Trust Athletics? Okay.
Sure. Oh, yeah. My husband bought me this neck massager thing for Christmas. It's like a neck, I guess it's like this wrap thing, and it has a massager thing, and it heats up.
Okay.
And you can put your hands in it and move it to where you want it to go. And it's great. I used it last night because my traps have been really sore.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I use all that stuff after. CrossFit workouts are no joke.
Yeah.
Man. They're tough. Some of them are easier than others, but man, some of them, I'm just wiped out afterwards. So, yeah, use a lot of those tools after that too.
I got you. Cross-training activity. Obviously, CrossFit at Trust Athletics. But is there something else that you like to do to cross-train with running?
I like to go hiking.
Ooh, okay.
I like hiking quite a bit. Just over at South Alabama, the Glen Sebastian Nature Trails are fantastic. Been all over different places going hiking, but just somewhere, Cottage Hill Park has some good hiking trails. I feel like it really helps with my ankle mobility.
Sure.
Hiking is just different. You're using just different muscle groups to keep stable while you're walking. And it's also so good for your mind. It really puts me relaxed, and I just enjoy being outside. I think that's one thing I like so much about running is just the being outside part of it. So yeah, I would say hiking, definitely CrossFit, weight training. I think weight training is probably, if I had to pick one most important exercise, I guess, for people, it would be weight training. I really feel like it helps so many different things, I mean, obviously, the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn, the more you can eat.
Yeah,
so there's that.
There is a positive to
There's
that.
But I really feel like strength training teaches you to have good form, good posture, helps you get a stronger core, and strengthening any of the muscles in the body. It just helps you in your daily work. So, yeah.
I love that. That's good. Let's talk about a worst race. A race that you're like, I don't know that I'd ever do that one again.
Well, I don't think they do it anymore. They do. They do. I just wasn't on board. So in 2017, I signed up for the Back-to-Back Challenge. It was a challenge in which you ran the Mississippi Blues half marathon on Saturday, and then you came home to Mobile and you ran First Light Mobile on Sunday. And I was excited about it. I was nervous. I thought, gosh, I've never thought about running 2 halves back to back, but I was excited. So we signed up for the race, and we book our hotel, and we drive to Jackson, Mississippi, 3 hours away, Friday night. The whole time it's snowing. And I'm just kind of like, what am I doing? I live in the South. I do not want to run in the snow. Surely they are going to cancel this race before I ever even get there, right? But they don't. They keep saying it's on, and we get all the way there, go to the expo. We check in the hotel, go to the expo, and they're like, yeah, we're good. And I'm like, it is literally snowing.
I didn't bring snowshoes.
I don't know that my little tennis shoes are going to work real well on ice. And so I was just really nervous about it. And I just kept thinking, surely they're going to just not do this. And so I was really like, having a hard time going, do I just not do the race? Like, I've never done that before. I've never signed up for something and just blown it off. No big deal. And Michael, my husband, had not signed up for this back-to-back challenge. And so he was like, you don't have to do it. It's no big deal. And I was like, I don't quit things. Like, I don't do that. And he's like, well, if it's snowing, I don't know that you're going to be able to do that. And I was like, well, maybe I could walk. If it's just slippery, I'll just walk, right? So we were coming up with all these game plans and what if this and what if that, stressed out to the max for some reason. I shouldn't have been so stressed out about it. But we went to bed, and of course I have my 15 alarm set, and I get up early, and I've got an email, a text message, a phone call, like everything. They had canceled the race.
Whoa.
But they had canceled the race at 11 o'clock in the evening, or maybe it was midnight. I can't remember exactly. It was like sometime in the middle of the night. And they put out an email saying, if you want your medal, you need to pick it up between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. And it was like, oh, well, we better get up and get moving. And so we get there, and someone has decided that we don't really need to get our medals because we didn't actually do the race. And I was like, okay, whatever. But now I'm here. So just make a decision. And so there's all these people standing around, and some people are just and they're so mad, and they're mad about the race, and they're frustrated about this whole medal situation. Sure. And they're like, I could have slept in this morning.
Right. You're like, I'm not a morning person either. Yeah, I know.
And I'm like, gosh, we just wasted a hotel stay and gas to get here, and my whole day was spent. You know? And so we got the medal. It is a cool medal, but yeah, it was just, the whole experience was just not good. Like the communication and all that. And then I didn't like the feeling of, I've got to quit something. It just didn't sit well with me. Like they just didn't handle it very well. I didn't feel like, so I won't be signing up for that race again.
Gotcha. Okay. Hey, that's fair. You've already talked a little bit about advice that you give to people when they want to start running. Eat the elephant one bite at a time, 1 mile at a time. Let's say somebody comes up to you and they're like, I really want to start. What is something that you would tell them?
So the first thing I would say is to set some goals.
That's good. Yeah.
Smart goals, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-bound. Okay. So specific goals, either you come up with them yourself or I can help you come up with them. Find somebody that can hold you accountable for those goals, your spouse or friend or whoever. And then the next thing to do is pick a race. That's the best way. That holds you the time-bound one for sure, and the financially. Sure. And so pick a race. Azalea Trail is a perfect starter race for anybody, you know, or go online to, I can't think of the name of it.
Oh, Little Red Hen.
Yes, Little Red Hen. Peggy's wonderful. Get a Little Red Hen. Pick the next race you see. Whatever it is. Give yourself a couple weeks. But pick a race, and that kind of gives you that goal that I'm going to be ready for that race. If you're going to do that and then you think you're going to move forward, pick a training plan. If you've never run before, either find somebody to help you like me or all these other running coaches around town. Hal Higdon apps are fantastic. Jeff Galloway training plans are fantastic. Find a plan. Go get some shoes. And then I guess the last thing would be don't focus on your time. Just focus on getting whatever you're supposed to do. If you're supposed to run 400 meters that day, go run 400 meters. If you're supposed to run half a mile tomorrow, just focus on that half a mile. And just find a mantra too. That's a good one too. Just to find something that's going to motivate you whenever you are reaching your end point and you want to quit and you want to give up. Find something that's going to motivate you, whether that's a person, whether it's an item you can wear, whether it's a mantra you can repeat to yourself, whatever it is, find it and stick with it.
Speaking of mantras, what is yours?
So my mantra is hard work, dedication, consistency, patience. It's something I repeat to myself a lot of times. And it really goes with just about anything I'm dealing with in life. If you put the hard work in and you're dedicated to whatever it is you're doing and you stay consistent and you stay patient, you will succeed. So a lot of times if I'm just really tired or I'm at mile 9 of a half or mile 19 of a full, I start to break down and hit that wall. And so that's when I start repeating that to myself over and over and over.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Good.
Yeah.
You've mentioned a little bit about goals, about wanting to get back into the running community, which, you know, we have Port City Pacers, jump right in, girl. But also, you've also mentioned bringing up a half. What are some other goals that you have?
So I have specific goals for this year. Some of them are personal, some of them are fitness related, whatever. Some of my personal goals, I want to read at least 2 books a month.
Okay.
I want to keep a book journal this year. I usually read 2 or 3 books in a month, but I want to write them down this year because I have a friend that just did that. And I was like, that's so cool that she could tell me everything she read. And it was fun for me to pick and choose things off of her list. So I want to keep a book journal and read, compliment someone daily. That's one of my goals this year.
Good, yeah.
Whether it's on Facebook and giving them a compliment on their Facebook feed or in person. I'm really trying to do that in all the areas of my life, at the gym, at work, at home, with my friends. I'm going to sew more this year. I'm a quilter. I should have brought my quilts. I have a running quilt with all these T-shirts. My mom actually made this one. It's got all kinds of running T-shirts that my husband and I have done. It's pretty cool. I should have brought it. But I want to sew more this year. I've stopped sewing in the last couple of years, and I've almost finished a quilt top for this month, and I got to go to my mom's on Monday and do the borders and stuff. So I want to get back into sewing because that's something that I really enjoy. So I'm going to try to go sew with my mom once every other week or so and just keep that going. I want to try a new recipe monthly, a meal prep every week.
Okay.
And I cook for my family, and I have a love-hate relationship with it, but I can't not do it. I love it, and I have recipes that I use all the time, but I want to come up with some different things to try, and I've tried one for January, and I didn't really like it.
Okay. That's fair. Hey, that's fair.
But those are just some personal goals. Fitness goals, I want to run at least twice a week. I want to add a long run on Sundays once I pick a race. I haven't picked which race I want to do yet. I've been looking at them. And I know a race that I would love to do is the Rock and Roll Las Vegas.
Okay.
But it's in February, so I don't have time for that yet. That'll be maybe next year. But I do want to do that eventually. I want to run the Dolphin Island Bridge. That's something that's been on my list for a couple of years. And Jennifer Wilson actually told me she would do it with me. So maybe we can do that together this year. I could probably get a group of people to go do it. It's just taking the time to pick a day and go do it. So once all this rain goes away. But, that's something I don't know why I want to do that, but I do.
Well, I think it's called Summer Solstice, but that they have a bunch of people get together and they run up the bridge. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I want to do that. I want to run the Azalea Trail this year, and I want to hike the rim of the Grand Canyon. We're going to do that in June.
Wow.
Family's taking a trip out there. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time. I went to the Grand Canyon as a kid, but we didn't do any of the activities. We just went to sightsee. And so we're going to go hiking in that canyon. So I'm excited about that.
Absolutely.
I want to compete in the CrossFit Open this year. I did that last year. I was actually picked for a captain at Trusted Planet.
Wow, yay.
I'm excited. Heidi and I are captains for our team, so I'm really excited about that. We have our draft coming open next weekend, so I'm excited about that. I want to do the Murph again on Memorial Day. My goal is to beat my time from last year.
Okay.
We'll see. But yeah, that's that. And then I have some specific weight training goals that I want to shoot for in the back squat for 235 pounds. So my last one was 225, so hopefully I can get a little bit more. Deadlift to 265 pounds, bench press 145, and power clean 135. So
wow.
Those are just some things that if I don't have a goal, I don't really have anything to shoot for.
Sure.
So, and then in those times like last night when I was really doubting myself and saying, I don't really want to do all that weight, I have to think about, okay, if I'm going to be able to back squat this, then I got to put the work in here and do this. And so having goals is one of the most important things you can have. And so if you're not setting goals in your life, you're really selling yourself short.
Oh, that's good. That's so good. What's your favorite link to run? So whether it's a training day or a race that you're like, ooh, I cannot wait to go run X amount of miles.
So just on a regular day, I like to run a 5K.
Okay.
I don't know why. I really think it's because that was the first distance I did, and I didn't even know what I was doing, you know? And so I surprised myself that day, and it was just a really fun 30-ish minutes, you know? So I really like running the 5K. For a race, half marathon for sure.
Okay.
I love that distance because it's just long enough to be a challenge, but training-wise, it's easy to train for. It's not as hard on your body, and you can do a shorter training period for it if you're a regular runner.
Yeah.
I do love that full marathon. I like saying that I can run one, but it is such a wear and tear on your body. And it was a long recovery time after each, whenever I finished. So, but yeah, I love a half. I've run so many halves, and it's just the feeling of accomplishment when you come across the finish line.
Yes.
I'm just like, man, that rocks.
Absolutely. Yeah. You talked about crying. I still cry after because I'm like, I'm done. I'm so happy to be done. But then again, it's also that like, I can't believe I just did this. Because you're always in a different season when you run. And then especially when you go back and you run a race that you ran the year before or whatever, you're not that person you once were. And so it's always emotional to look back and go, wow, I can't believe I just did this.
Yeah. It's really cool. I also think that touching on that, I think you really have to give yourself some grace. Being in a different season of life, you really just, like when you stop running for a while or you're just running here or there, it's like your lungs forget what to do.
Sure. That's a fair statement right there.
And so you really have to give yourself some time to work back up to where you were. And not to really compare your time with what you are doing now with what you did 10 years ago when you were running all the time and you were into it and that was your focus. And whereas right now I don't feel like my focus is running, and I'm going back that direction because I'm choosing to.
Sure.
But I don't feel like that's been my focus for a few years. And so I'm having to give myself a little bit grace going, okay, just because I'm really having to focus on finishing that mile. I'm not worrying about that time right now. And it'll come.
Yeah.
It'll come. And some days are better than others.
Oh,
and
preach, girl, preach.
And
yeah.
so many factors go into how your body's feeling and what you've been eating and hormones and sleep and stress and all those things go into it. So I feel like we are so hard on ourselves and that we really need to give ourselves some grace sometimes to just enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
Thankful that you can do it. You know?
You are so good for my soul, just so you know. Wow, that's so good. So you've mentioned a little bit that you like to sew and cook, but when you're not running, what do you like to do?
Well, I like to travel.
Okay.
I like to spend time with my husband and my 3 children. And our 3 golden doodles.
No, nice. Okay.
We have 3 doodles. I like to go out on our boat. We've had a boat for quite a while now, and I really love that. It's my favorite thing to do in the summer. That's probably just traveling is a big deal. I love to travel anywhere, anytime. So I love Broadway musicals. My husband gave me season tickets to the Sanger in New Orleans. It's been probably 7 years ago. He gave me that for an anniversary gift. And so about once a month we go over to the Sanger and have a date night and go see a musical.
Oh, that's adorable.
New Orleans has become my home away from home.
Okay.
I love it over there and I could live there, my husband not. So I guess that won't happen. But
you're like, there's musicals everywhere.
I love Broadway. We've been to New York lots of times and seen musicals there too. But it's so fun. Like we get up on a Sunday morning, we go to church, and then we leave after church. We head over to New Orleans, and we will go find something to do. Sometimes we just wander around and people watch and check out the shops. And sometimes we have specific things that we're going to go look for and do.
Okay.
And then we go have an early dinner around 4:30ish, and then we go to the musical at 6:30, and then we drop.
Okay, so I have to know, what has been your favorite musical?
Oh, gosh. So, I would probably have to say Hamilton.
Okay.
And Les Mis. Are probably my 2 favorites. I can't really pick one out of that because I really love both of those so much. There's been so many. I've seen, I have a friend, Devin, that gave me this poster, and it has these little circles that you scratch off, and it has the name of the musical, and it, like when you scratch it off, it has the logo or whatever. It's so fun. So I'm waiting to fill that thing up, and then I'm going to frame it.
Oh, that is
I think
so
I'm
cool.
going to frame like all the playbills around it. We'll have that. But I love any kind of live theater.
Okay.
Plays, musical, whatever. I am just amazed at what people can do. I just feel like movies are wonderful. Yes, I like movies, but I feel like with movies, there's so much editing and, cut that scene, do that 12 times, you know, got to do that again. You got to put that person in there, do the stunt double, whatever. But in a musical or any live theater, you get what you get.
Yeah.
It's on there, right there. You're looking at it. It's live. And I'm amazed at what people are able to do. I'm not a singer or a dancer.
Right.
And so I'm thankful that there are people that do that. Because you don't want me up there.
Yes. We got to see, our daughter had always wanted to see a Broadway show. So we went to New York and we saw Lion King.
And it's fantastic.
And the costumes.
Isn't it amazing?
And they're just flying around on things. And you're like, and when it's over, you're like, wait, that's it? It's over? Like, it's
you don't want it to
time
end.
has just flown by. And we literally just sat there in astonishment of like how
it's wonderful,
amazing it was. From the costumes to the music, to the telling of the story, to just everything. And you just were like,
I love watching a story come out in song. I'm a huge music fan, but I love how, like, afterward I can listen to the soundtracks, score, and I can see it in my head. Like it's playing out in my head as what I saw on the screen.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to me. I love it. And I've been thankful for that gift for so long now. And now that's what I want for my anniversary every day. I'm like, I don't want dinner. I don't want flowers. I want my show. And it's funny because I have so many friends that now they go because they've seen me post on Facebook about the different shows that we've gone to see. Because I always like to post a little bit about it. Like what it was.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people don't watch any kind of theater. And so I have several friends who now they have over there. And I mean, people text me all the time, hey, where are the best seats in the Sanger?
Oh, I love that. Oh, how fun.
There's not a bad.
Yeah.
Anything above K in the balcony, I wouldn't sit up there. But yeah, it's
Wow.
New Orleans is a fantastic place. There's so much culture there.
Sure.
It's fun.
Oh, that's amazing. Any final words of wisdom, my friend?
Well, I guess the only thing I can say is just to celebrate you. You know, all of us are different. There's always going to be somebody that's stronger than me, weaker than me, faster than me, slower than me. There's always going to be someone taller and shorter and bigger and smaller. And there's all these things, but you have to learn to celebrate yourself, to be comfortable in your own skin, and to know what your advantages in life are and what your disadvantages are.
Sure.
I'm never going to be an Olympic runner or an Olympic weightlifter, or I'm never going to run a marathon in 4 hours. That's not going to be me. I'm not going to make it to Boston. If I run New York City, because that's my ultimate bucket list run, it's the New York City Marathon. If I run that, it will be because I raised the money to do it.
Right.
Not because I had the time to get in.
Same.
But you know what? That's okay. Because regardless, I'm a runner. Anybody that ties up their shoelaces and hits that sidewalk or hits the trails, you're a runner.
Yeah.
You know? And celebrate the fact that you're able to do it. Because with my story, I never thought that I would be where I am right now. Never in a million years. And so just be thankful for what you have and what you're able to accomplish. And you can honestly do anything. Just put your mind to it and do it. You just have to find a plan and go for it. So
I will say it again. You are so good for my soul. I am so glad our mutual friend Rachel was like, you have to get her on the podcast. So shout out to Rachel for organizing this, because you are just amazing. And I hope to see you at the run.
I will.
We can hang out. So
I'll be there.
oh, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me. This was fun. It was fun.
What a beautiful reminder to give ourselves some grace. I appreciate Annette so much, and that beautiful reminder that some runs are going to be easy, some are going to be hard, some are going to be harder than hard. And some days we just can't get it done. And so just to give yourself some grace and be proud of what you can do. Again, guys, Annette, like, she's absolutely phenomenal. And I instantly was like, I want to be your best friend, because what an inspirational person, and just her heart, again, just so joyous and not taking running for granted. I think that is so beautiful, and we sometimes lose sight of that. And I think that was such a great reminder of, we get to do this, and give yourself some grace on the hard days, and be proud of what you can do, no matter your pace, no matter your distance, no matter where you're at in your run story, whether you're just starting out or you've been running for decades. Give yourself some grace and be proud when you cross that finish line. Absolutely amazing. And again, thank you, Annette, so much for what you're doing for our running community. You are just an extraordinary individual, and I cannot wait to see you at races, because I just want to hang out with you, my friend. Absolutely amazing. And again, thank you so much to Run and Try Mobile for powering up our podcast this month. We could not do it without those that believe in Run Your Story. And definitely go check out for pickleball shoes. It's a new rage, guys, and it's really fun. It's a great, fun way when you need a break from running. The pickleball people, they're fun. So definitely want to go check out some pickleball shoes, cross-training shoes, running shoes. If you need work shoes, Aaron's got you at Run and Try. So definitely go check them out. Again, they'll help you find that happy gait. Run and Try really is great, and Aaron is fantastic. And again, he does so much for our community. And he's such a giver and such a great supporter of our dreams. And so we're so grateful for him. So Run and Try, you can check them out on our website or on social media. They are there as well. And speaking of support, guys, join the Patreon community. We love our Patreon supporters, and we're trying to constantly brainstorm about what all we can do more for them, because they make our lives better, because we don't have to worry about the cost of putting on a podcast. And so we are so grateful for them. So join the Patreon community, and you can find that on our website as well. And to our Patreon supporters, we love you. You guys are just absolutely phenomenal. I love you guys so much. And it just, on the days where I think I can't do this, I remember I have people that believe in this podcast, and that is what fuels me. That is what these people believe in me, and they're pouring into the community. And so you guys make me stronger. So thank you so much for that. and just for believing in Run Your Story. You guys will never know how much this means to us. Really, honestly, like not a clue, because it's that powerful for us. And as always, Mars Hill, thank you so much for providing such a safe place, for believing in the running community, for giving us an opportunity to sit down and get to share our stories and really just get to be community. And so I'm so appreciative of Mars Hill, because again, not something I could afford a recording space. And so Mars Hill has given us this safe space. And so we are just truly grateful for that. And for Gilliard Tech Services, he does everything from the website to our reels that you've been seeing. He does such a great job. And with editing the podcast, guys, you would be amazed at how many people reach out to him and are like, hey man, I want to redo my website. I want to freshen it up, or I want to create a new one. Guys, he can do that. And he literally will spend any free moment he can making sure that you have what you want and that you're happy with it. So definitely check him out. Social media, he also has a website, Gilliard Tech Services. He is amazing. And I'm always amazed at what he can do to our website, like with Run Your Story. I'm like, wow, I didn't even think about that. And he does such a stellar job of making sure that it's an easy, accessible way for runners to find the information that we need for runners and walkers. So absolutely love it. And just so grateful that he believes in Run Your Story so much. Because again, not something I could afford. So thank you for that. So if you guys definitely go check him out. He loves nonprofits. He loves working with small businesses because that's who he believes in. So definitely go check him out. You guys will not be disappointed at all. Oh, guys, like, share, comment. You want to make sure that Annette Hites and her Run Your Story is shared, because that's how your stories get out there, is we share them. And that makes us more connected. And we love that. That's what this podcast is all about, connecting us all together, finding our roots intertwined. And that's what we love. So definitely share this, like it, make a comment, and just know that we love you and appreciate you guys. Until next time, lace up your running shoes or walking shoes and go run your story, because every story needs to be heard.